Oh, freedom. Oh,
we need help.
They lock us up and shoot us down.
He's just driving by and he wants to film us. He's from the news.
I've been birding as long as I can remember.
Just trying to see what we can do at this point.
How we doing?
You notice that's not a supply chain going through China?
Happy Friday!
Movement, touch.
Or what you think about that now that you've gone through it.
Just about experience.
They all sort of make the same noise on the way out of the crate.
Come on.
But sometimes there's a noise to get them out in the first place. Today, that noise is being made by Julie Benshovel.
It's just a noise that, they feel uncomfortable with, I should say. So yeah, it just helps encourage them to come out.
Of course, the pheasants don't always need help getting out.
Yeah. Every once in a while, they follow the leader, so that's always nice.
Julie and DNR employees like her are stalking pheasants this week for holiday hunts in southern Wisconsin.
These days are definitely one of my favorites.
Stalking days, that is. Driving from stop to stop.
A few birds there, a few birds here. I mean, especially when you have so many.
It takes a few hours to stalk the Brooklyn wildlife area. One pheasant at a time. We're about 300 in this area alone.
You know, people in the area definitely really appreciate it.
Across 8 public properties, the DNR stalked more than 2,000 pheasants this week.
Did not appreciate me putting my arm in there.
Some more reluctant than others. And as Julie takes me along with her to release them, she explains why she likes the birds so much.
Everything from their beautiful colors to their personal attitudes, I like to call them.
Showing attitude, personality, or just plain displeasure with the whole process.
A lot of them like to stare you down and hiss at you every once in a while, and they make it known that they do not appreciate you being so close to them.
It's a way for the DNR to manage populations, and a way for Julie
It's just nice to soak up in the nature that you surround yourself in.
to enjoy her time at the office. In Brooklyn, Jeff Dahdah, Spectrum News. In a place quiet enough to hear the birds talk, you can find Ed and Mary taking it all in.
We do come by.
Yeah, we try to get here once or twice a week at least.
Because here, they can be removed.
It's just quiet, pretty, and not confused with things human.
But it's something human recognizing the University of Wisconsin Arboretum. Earlier this month, it was put on the historical registry.
I didn't know that they put places, and I thought it was just houses or buildings. But what does it mean?
It's just a great honor.
The Arboretum's director, Karen Oberhauser, says it's mostly recognition of what the area means to the state.
Having this designation is just a recognition of the importance of what we do.
Importance in research and education, and recognition specifically for the Arboretum from the 1930s to the 60s. Part of the reason that the Arboretum has been added to the registry is because of scientifically historic contributions. Like where I'm standing right now. Curtis Prairie, which I'm on now and you see all around me, is the first prairie ever to be restored.
So we're important in the whole field of restoration ecology.
The recognition won't change anything about the Arboretum, which the people who frequent it are happy to hear.
We've met some wonderful people along the trail here.
So one of Ed and Mary's favorite places just has a new thing about it.
And now it's historical.
Locally and nationally.
Or hysterical.
In Madison, Jeff Dahdah, Spectrum News.
Let me move this stuff.
Jonah Guluciano has a sweet setup. He calls it his man cave, or you could call it a workshop.
We worked on it for practically forever. It's this thing.
This thing is a Star Wars Republic gunship, or as Jonah calls it,
That's kind of my pride and joy.
Jonah's happy about his Lego collection. He's happier in general the past 3 years, because when he was 10, he learned something about himself.
We always knew I had been different, but we had never quite been able to put our finger on it or get the correct treatment.
3 years ago, Jonah was diagnosed with autism. He was in a range once considered Asperger's.
What is this?
It was tough to figure out.
Okay, I'm pretty sure this doesn't have anything to do with butts. And also, I like burgers. Does this have anything to do with burgers?
As he started to figure it out,
But then I was like, no, that can't be right. We're at a medical appointment.
the news was tough to take.
Honestly, that was probably one of the hardest moments of my life.
But now, 3 years wiser, he says it's a good thing.
Looking back on it, it has done nothing but changed everything for the better.
His mom, Rebecca Minsley, agrees.
As a parent, it can be scary because all parents worry about their child's future, but it has ultimately led to Jonah getting support and services that he needs.
While autism can be misunderstood, it's actually what makes Jonah awesome.
People with autism bring so much to our lives.
And the whole experience has made Jonah an advocate.
Next, we're going to hear from Jonah Golciano.
On Wednesday at a press conference at the Capitol, flanked by the governor of Wisconsin and autism advocates, Jonah didn't even need to see over the microphones to share his dream.
I wish for a day when anybody on the autism spectrum can say, I am autistic, without fear of ridicule or misunderstanding. Until that day, my rallying cry is, understand autism.
We're super proud of him. I mean, as a parent, it's everything you hope your kid will achieve.
It's got an opening back hatch.
Later in the day, Jonah brings me into his workspace. While now it's Legos, soon Jonah will build his next advocacy project.
It hurts me to know that there are other people like me who are walking around in life who always feel like there's a part of them that isn't understood and that there's something wrong with them and will never be able to get the help that they need. And I want to change that.
And at just 13, Jonah's building a foundation for change. In Madison, Jeff Dahdah, Spectrum News. Under the surface on Geneva Lake, an invader is trying to take over, which would make this the reinforcements. This week, divers are plunging underwater and hand-pulling this. It's an invasive plant known as starry stonewort.
Yeah, that looks like it.
Ted Peters is director of the Geneva Lake Environmental Agency. The agency has been trying to keep starry stonewort under control since its discovery in the lake a couple of years back.
We're just starting to understand the plant and how to manage it and how to control it.
Last year, the agency tried chemically treating the lagoon where the stonewort first established. It wasn't as effective as they'd hoped.
It's looking like this is probably hand pulling, probably the most effective.
Hand pulling it and passing it off to volunteer kayakers.
When we come to the surface, we want to be able to clip the bag on the boat as soon as possible, get a clean bag, and we drop back down so we're in the same general area of where we left off and we can keep going.
The kayakers bring it to shore, today being greeted by me before dumping the bag and returning to the water. The local volunteers know how important it is to keep the lake clean.
Tremendously important. And it draws a lot of tourism. We enjoy it as locals, and we like to keep the lake healthy and clean.
That's usually down in the sediment.
Peter said the reason the invasive plant hasn't spread more is because the lake is so clean to begin with. But without measures like this, things could get out of hand unchecked.
There is that concern, but I don't feel that that's the ultimatum we're facing at this point. It is a healthy lake.
Invasive plants like the starry stonewort are aggressive, often outcompeting native plants and hurting local ecosystems, which is why Peters urges people to check their boats when coming in and out of waterways.
When you leave a lake, you should be taking nothing live from that lake to another lake.
If not, it could mean years of upkeep for communities around the water.
By hand pulling it, we're just giving the lake a little bit of an advantage.
An advantage the locals are happy to help give.
It speaks a lot for the local community, and we really care about our lake.
In Lake Geneva, Jeff Dahdah, Spectrum News.